Hello, everyone. It's Divine Erdrick, and we're here once again, finally, with Homestuck Beyond Canon. Oh boy. Oh, today is February the 22nd, and you'll notice, if you hadn't noticed already, that the update was from February the 16th. This has not been a good time for me. I've been having a lot of trouble with my migraines, and I just recently got my Botox for migraine treatment, and it takes me a little bit to recover from that. So timing on the release of the S page did not work out very well for me. Doesn't look like it worked completely well for James either, from the top paragraph of the article here. But here I am, finally ready to react. So quick recap, because hopefully this S page is going to be bringing a lot of threads together. We'll start with meat, the meat of the story. In the meat timeline, Rose, Terezi, and Dirk are about to begin their time skip, or they've actually technically already time skipped to after the civilizations that they have created on Deltritus have formed, with the idea that they will then be overseeing things and watching things as those civilizations begin their epic spur grub, whatever they decide to call it, adventure on their civilization. The bulk of the cast of the meat timeline is currently in pursuit. They're currently trying to head to Deltritus. The only exceptions being that I can think of are Jane and Jake, who have both stayed behind on Earth C. Jane is running the government. Jake is dealing with the fallout of what Dirk did to him. And then we've got some interaction with the sprite, so we're still not entirely sure how the sprite interaction is working. They've even joked about the pseudo-canonicity of things going on there, so we'll have to see how that may or may not pan out. But we've got basically two ships. One has the bulk of the cast, and then on the other, you've got Aradia and trying to Dave Bot. Is that what we decided to call him? I almost feel like he'd want to be called Robo Dave, but I think everyone's calling him Dave Bot. I think that's what they actually call him in this. I can't remember for sure. They're actually from the Candy timeline moving forward, but they are in pursuit. They're chasing after everyone, and of course the big fly in the ointment, well, goddess in the ointment, one could say, is that Dead Tier Calliope has decided that the endeavors of everyone on Jake's ship don't matter, and they are going to take care of Dirk and what's going on Ultritus all on their own. They don't want any input from any of the crew that is currently going to try and stop Dirk, which I imagine Kanaya in particular is not very happy about. She would very, very much like to have some words with Dirk right now. On Candy, or should I said I would meet here. I think I should have Candy here. On Candy, Earth C, the war is about to come to a head. All of the forces have arranged themselves on the battlefield around the plot point. Jane has fired whatever her doomsday weapon is. Jade has been taken out by a sniper, so her shield is no longer up, protecting anything. All of the trolls have gotten together on their side, so you've got Karkat, Kanaya, and Mina are leading the troll resistance. Rose is currently Rose seems to be currently trying to get all of the kids together and keep the kids safe, including safe from the realities of war that's happening around them. And John, Calliope, and Roxy are at the plot point, and they are waiting on the outcome of what Vriska has done with the plot point. Then inside the plot point, of course, we have Vriska herself. She is interacting with the sprites, if they actually are. I can honestly believe that Dave Petta sprite is legitimately there because the sprites squared seem to be able to bypass certain rules. I'm not sure if Dave Petta can bring the rest of the sprites with them or if they're projections. I'm not sure how much of what's happening in the plot point is projection versus actual events that are taking place. We know that at least some of what's going on in the plot point, it has to be projection because, for example, Mom Fang was a combination of both of Vriska's female role models, her mother figures, if you want to call them that, even though they weren't. So we know that these aren't real, true to life versions of everything we're seeing. Of course, Doc Scratch should be dead, and she saw Doc Scratch. But Vriska has gotten through all of her redemption arc. She is starting to come to terms with herself, but she has been stopped at the last hurdle because she cannot embrace the part of her that chose joy and happiness over the mission, over what she believed mattered, what she thought was the fate of reality. Of course, she always saw herself as being the hero. And if you go with like the classic kind of hero's journey, this is the hero that when it came to the part where the hero gives up on the quest, never got back on. And Vriska cannot come to terms with the fact that a part of her would do that. So I'm pretty sure that's where everything is. Oh, except for one thing. We have met a new character. We now have somebody communicating with Vrissy through some means. We don't know who. We don't know if it's a troll. The hands don't quite look right. They are using a typing quirk. But they are trying to get a hold of Vrissy, and things are happening with them and another new character who we have not seen any of at all. We've only had them referenced. So we don't know what's going on there yet. Of course, we all have our theories and suspicions. Like, is this one of the new players from Deltritus? Are we going to get a situation? Because all of the Spurb/Scrub sessions we've seen were all bifurcated in some way. So the original one, you had the beta kids, and they were interacting with the trolls having completed their session. Then you had the alpha kids, and they were interacting with Calliope and Caliborn. So are we going to have our kids, Vrissy, Yiffy, Tavi, and Harry? That shows you how bad Cannot Brain has the dumb. Anyway, we've got our kids. Are they going to be interacting with a bifurcated session from Deltritus? Which, of course, would be a weird way, but an interesting way to combine Meat and Earth-C. Now, the question is, how is this supposedly happening? Because Dead Tier Calliope sealed Earth-C off. And we've seen that those influences that seemed to have happened have all proven to be false. So, for example, one of the big things of how can this be going on, if especially since it seemed like Dirk abandoned Earthsea completely, or Candy Earthsea completely, and Calliope sealed it off. How then could Jake be interacting with Brain Ghost Dirk? Well, Jake wasn't interacting with Brain Ghost Dirk. Jake was projecting a Brain Ghost Dirk to handle what was going on with his own consciousness, and that was shown when Brain Ghost Dirk brought down his glasses, and it turned out that the eyes staring back at Jake were Jake's eyes. So it doesn't seem like they should be able to interact. And of course, there's lots more trolls on Earthsea. There's no reason we can't meet new trolls or new characters. We've already met, all of the new kids through the epilogues. And we've even met a couple of new trolls already, although I believe they were fan trolls that became official trolls. So, yeah, that's where we are. That's the mystery and the climactic event we are about to see. All right, so let's start, as I like to do, with the news post by James. Hi there, James here, back at it again. A lot happened while I was out. I was right in the middle of like 3 wildfires. I wonder if James actually had to deal with real wildfires. I got salmonella poisoning from a vile and treacherous burger. Yike. I saw a glimpse of the beautiful world. A new season of Severance started. I survived the curse of Raw. That would be 4 wildfires, James. Unless you're not counting Severance as a wildfire. So as you can imagine, it has been pretty busy, thanks to the team for holding it down. Speaking of which, the S page, it's here! Written, directed, and boarded by Floral and Kim, with a special shout out to Mark Hadley for letting us use the track. But this has been a huge group effort. We will, soon, update the credits page to include all of the individual artists who contributed, but let's get a huge round of applause for everyone involved. Try not to be loud for my microphone, because my microphone would be right in front of my hands. But yes, seriously, that was not Macapaz, by the way. Seriously. Although, to be fair, haven't seen the S page, but just the fact that you're doing this. It has been sort of insane keeping it all under wraps. Lots of late nights, a lot of trial and error, and a lot of organization. I had a very small part in it for someone who is speaking on it so authoritatively. It is kind of a miracle this has come together in the way it has, and really helps you understand how much of a creative genius Andrew was. Say what you want about Andrew. So, well, he was not just a genius, he was a frickin' workhorse. And I'm sure he'd love the fact we're comparing him to a workhorse. So, what else has been going on? We're partnering with Makeship again to bring you 2 more plushies. They were hinting at that. I will probably try to get the 2 more plushies, depending on who they are. I don't think I want all of the plushies. Like, I'm not sure I would really need Midnight Crew plushies. Maybe Hearts and CD. Clubs Deuces. Hearts and Gloves. Hearts and Gloves. A portion of the proceeds from the CarCat plush and funds from the Patreon went directly into paying freelancers for the flash assets and compositing work. So really, this was made possible by you guys, the community. You rascals, you've done it again. In community news, Reddit is doing their reread if you want to join in the conversation there. Behind the scenes, we're looking at some more licensing opportunities and slowly but surely getting into fixing the Homestuck website. Nice. I'm glad Viz will actually let you do it. Is Viz even running the Homestuck website anymore? There are a handful of things on the horizon. More about that when there is more to say. In the meantime, look forward to another update before it's curtains on Act 1 forever. All right, enjoy the update. We have no lead in, it is just break. I don't want to zoom in too much in case they do any frame breaking. I think that's probably safe. It looks like we have to click on it. Still looks stone cold. Not Mina is still the thief of light. Really? That's how fucking Carcat learns about Dave? Daphne just jumping around the floor. Going almost up. I'm gonna have to go through this frame by frame. There's so much freaking going on. Dave's back up and running. All weapons going on. Placate. Solid sausage game. Jake has gone full hope. Year 8. It took her 4 more years. They had to bond over something. Oh, I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. Oh! Vriska saved Rose. All of what Rose has been doing to try to distance herself from Kanaya and spare her the pain is vain. And Vriska might have just killed Jane. And fire. All right. Okay, so that's playing in picture mode. That doesn't help me. Actually, that might help me. Hold on, if I can move the picture mode. All right, let's bring it up. All right, let's see if we can go frame by frame here. All right, so we're start zooming in from John's perspective. But we actually don't see a lot of John doing much. So as I said, we got John, Calliope, and Roxy. We have Jade, who is holding up her shield. We got the forces of Eris Crocker. We have Tavi. I need to actually see, like, I think Tavi spends like the vast majority of this bouncing around the screen to get rid of a rocket that's going to hit Yiffy. Yiffy squaring off. Solix, who is waiting for his food. I think that might be the delivery there. Got the knife and fork horns. The soldiers are in the process of fighting the army, but hey, guess what? Mina's still the thief of life. We have Kanaya, who I think I might have lost the frame where she cuts down a bunch of dudes. And of course, every time they cut anyone down, Jane is bringing them back to life as best she can. Year 4 Vrisk is still not able to face what's going on. Okay, here's the missile, and I think what they're showing here is the missile is heading towards Yiffy. We are getting kind of a year scroll in real time. And here's Kanaya, chainsaw at the ready, but she can't bring herself. There's Tavi going, no! She can't bring herself either to hurt Yiffy or save Yiffy. And Tavi is just like, come on! So Tavi springs into action! Action Tav! And we have Jake getting mauled. But Tavi's not here to save Jake. There's Jade taking another bullet. And for some reason, taking that bullet sends out the captcha log card. We get our one brief moment of Carcat being a badass. Just for a brief moment. And then there's Dave. Dave's even in, like, partly in Guardian mode, like no mouth or anything, just the eyes. And Mina's like, oh, come on. And Tavi continues to bounce around the screen. There's the missile heading towards Yiffy. There's the delivery guy for Solix. And Solix is like, no, doom. We're now in year 6 for Vriska. Jade goes down again. But at the same time, Jake goes all hope mode. And boom! So yeah, apparently those guys are just all dead. Blinds Jane. Basically blinding everyone. At the same time, Jade is coming back to life again. And we're rolling over into year 7. And now Jade is back in the fight. And yeah, she's just irradiating dudes. You get the one troll soldier and the one Crocker soldier, like, we're just mooks on a battlefield filled with gods. The other button. And that sends down a drone. Year 7. Bonking herself with one of John's arms. Then eating a cookie. She needs a cookie. then like attacking herself and like just. And Jake is just, yep, this is happening. Now you got to deal with me. And of course, we've got a droid here. I think that's one of Carcat's machines. I think is what they're showing there. Yeah, that's Carcat in a war machine. The shield is holding. The kids that Rose has managed to save are like, holy shit, what are we even doing here? And Rose is like, it's time. She's expecting at this point Calliope to die. Jane is making monstrosities of her soldiers. The two soldiers who are hugging each other are like, oh shit. And walk off into the sunset. You have Yiffy and Tavi. Everybody's running from Jake, who is just literally wiping dudes off the battlefield. Jake comes to, look at that! Look at manly fatherly Jake coming to protect his son and his son's friend. And then here it is, the bullet that Rose has been waiting for, that she knew was coming, and she got too complacent in. And of course, again, we really should see, from Rose's perspective, she is seeing this mess of causality, which she doesn't even think matters anymore. Since John didn't go and fight Lord English, she has continued to have the perspective that none of this is really mattering. You know, she's almost at the same spot where Dirk was. And so she is just trying to make the best of a bad situation. And so she sees this as the optimal outcome. But of course, we go into year 8. I think I missed the part where Solix was mourning over his lost delivery. I thought it was his game for a second, but no, he was getting delivery. And so here we have it. This little touching moment where Terezi is trying to reach out, or sorry, Vriska is trying to reach out to Terezi through John's device. She's trying to pester Terezi, and Terezi does not get back to her ever, because she won't answer any messages from John at this point because John's dead, and Terezi is not dealing with the fact that John is dead very well. And of course, what is the one bit of happiness that parentheses Vriska found at the end of Homestuck? Well, she found Terezi. She finds Terezi at the end of Remember. So this is what allows, I think this is what allows Vriska to accept her. The idea that the one thing Vriska really wishes more than anything, and that I'm sad we didn't see anything more with, but I think the reason we didn't see it is for this moment. The one person Vriska wishes more than any, the one she was expecting to see behind the 8-ball, was Terezi. The one person she really wishes she could have done everything different with. And so that's where I think she realizes that this is where that part of her lives. That she would have potentially given up being a hero if it meant that she could have done things differently with Terezi. And of course, everybody's celebrating. Arisol's like, I can't believe it happened. Because of course he would not have been expecting this to ever happen. Triumphant Dave Petta! And then the real break begins. Brief moment here. Now I'm curious if there's any others. We see, yeah, we see, oh, we've got a lot going on here to go frame by frame with. Let's see if I can just get, nope, this is not going to go, this is going to go in like fits and starts. So we're seeing kind of like similar to Cascade, we're seeing multiple things happening from the course of Beyond Canon. So we're seeing Dirk cut the message board where we told him to stop writing Homestuck. We're seeing him activating the panel. We're seeing the Calliope possessed Jade. We're seeing Jade and Calliope fighting. We see, yeah, there's Calliope possessed Jade again. We're seeing, Dave and Carcat making out. We're seeing Terezi playing her game. Need to clean myself up a bit because of that touching. I did tear up a little during that talking about Terezi and Vriska. Again, we're seeing Calliope declaring that she's going to be the one that takes Dirk down and she doesn't want help from anyone else, and just what Kanaya thinks about that. We're seeing the flip and catch. And now Rose is alive. And let's just hope. I noticed Vriska's hair seems different here. And I'm thinking this is implying Vriska is now an ascended god tier. So yeah, Vriska, I think they're showing that Vriska is an ascended god tier here. We've got this halo of blood over her head, which is kind of interesting. It even kind of makes the blood symbol a little bit. But she is now fully the Thief of Light. She's an ascended god tier. And I do hope that Vriska is going to maybe give Rose some of her fortune, because she's gonna need it to make up with Kanaya. It almost seems like it's hard, like part of it even looks, the way this is done, like this is beautiful art, that like part of the explosion like even looks like it's forming more wings for her. And at this point, did we just decapitate Jack Noir again? Is that who was piloting this thing? Did she get Jack Noir to pilot her drone? Her war machine? We've got Carcat standing victorious there. And yeah, Risk is just coming through, just ending dudes. Standing before the broken moon. She's in red hue, red colors. I wonder if this is maybe even bringing back some inversion theory where, like, because of what she's done, she's channeling blood power. Which is weird because, I guess to be fair, like, we never really understood how, we never really got any confirmation fully on how inversion worked. But like light we thought was in the opposite of void. But she seems to be channeling like some like genuine blood power here. At least that's what the implication I'm getting. But now here's the light, light and fortune. And the infinity symbol over Crocker's vessel. And down she comes. And we potentially just lost Jane. Now, it's possible Vriska might have spared Jane, but yeah. And there was a scene Like I might try like later going like putting this into like a video editor and going through frame by frame. But there was a scene where Solix is no just mourning over his lost delivery, you know, because Tavi of course saved, you know, Yiffy, not the delivery guy. Oh, I think my favorite part of all this, though, my favorite part are the two soldiers. You've got the two soldiers, one troll soldier, one Crocker soldier, just huddled together in terror as they see these literal gods of their world walking the battlefield and just ending people, just completely and totally destroying both sides of the battle. You know, Jane doing what she's doing. And then, of course, we see Jake, we see Jade. You know, we see both Karkat and Mina. And again, I missed it, but I know there was a scene where Kanaya was just cutting down people and just ripping apart Crocker's forces. And so you got these two soldiers huddled together in fear. And then when they get this moment of silence in the battlefield before everything truly breaks loose, and they just kind of look at each other, they stand off and they walk off into the sunset. Oh, that was a perfect little thing to add into this. That was absolute brilliance. Oh, but yes, I did enjoy this. It felt maybe if I'm going to be a bit critical for a moment, it felt maybe a bit too fast paced, a little bit too much happening all at once. And like it's really hard to absorb. Like you're catching like bits and flashes of it. So you do have to kind of go back and kind of look at everything to see what's going on. So yeah, that's if it's my only complaint, it's maybe that it's a little too fast paced. But I think they were really determined to fit it into the score. And although we got flashes of things going on in the meat timeline, this of course was almost entirely candy. So we still have a lot left over regarding how things are going to resolve. So we like it wouldn't surprise me if we even need another flash, but they may not. They may have decided that this. We'll just have to wait and see what the Hiku decides as to how they're going to do this. And yes, I am using Jen's pronunciation of Hiku. So yeah, but other than that, like, oh, I was so worried that when Vriska broke everything, she was going to foil Rose's plan and Rose was going to be left alive and unharmed when she was expecting to be near on death's door. And, you know, because Rose, as was revealed, was just trying to distance herself from Kanaya, trying to drive Kanaya away so Kanaya would be free from the pain. Now, this doesn't mean that Kanaya is not going to forgive her when she explains what's going on, but of course, Kanaya is also going to be absolutely furious that Rose didn't share any of that with her. She's going to be absolutely furious that Rose just went off and did all this on her own. So hopefully Vriska will share some fortune with her. But yeah, that's the one down note. And of course, we don't know if Jane is alive at this point. We don't know if this version of Jane can be redeemed. This, of course, is the version of Jane that between the effects of the plot point and the lingering programming she suffered, she has basically become a human version of the Condess. So we don't even know if she can be redeemed at this point. Like, we don't know if that's like, I'd like to believe that Jane can be saved. I'm one of those people who actually kind of always liked Jane. You know, yeah, like Roxy, in my opinion, is the clear all-star of the Alpha Kids. But I liked all of the Alpha Kids. I really did. And it's really nice, especially to see Jake actually rising up and actually doing what he needs to do. So yeah, so here's hoping we will get some more good resolutions, but of course, that's not everything that a story is supposed to do. There is supposed to be conflict. I don't know how much the Hiku is sticking with the original goal for this, the original theme of what is an audience's role in a narrative. Because that is, of course, where a lot of the original contention is. The original epilogues and Homestuck 2 Beyond Canon was hostile with its audience because the characters in it, in the narrative, had become aware that an audience existed and that their existence was potentially at their whim and mercy. And so that made the narrative hostile towards us. You know, it's the whole idea of, it's like, I mentioned this even like so many videos ago. I mentioned the whole idea of like how Evangelion ended, and it ended with instrumentality, and it literally ends with Shinji smiling. And Anno ended it there because that was, well, A, his budget was not allowing him to go much further, and B, like, that was the last chance anyone was going to get to see Shinji happy, the way the story was going. And so, like, as we pushed more into getting the epilogues and getting more Homestuck, we were taking kids who had just survived this horrible experience and, you know, impressing upon them our will that, hey, we don't want your experience to be over. We want to see more of this, which is going to include more of you suffering and dying. You know, it's the whole Wakraya thing that I did a while back too. Like, you know, so that was the original theme and intention behind the epilogues and behind Homestuck Squared. So I'm not sure how much of that the Hiku is carrying forward. If we're going to see, obviously we're still seeing it with Dirk, because that has become a part of Dirk's character, that he is interacting with us directly and he is trying to keep us interested so that his life and universe will have meaning. So that's obviously still going to be partly there, but it, you know, it would to a certain degree obviously also be nice if we could go back to the original theme of Homestuck, of these characters moving past the confines of the narrative and becoming more realized and actualized as things go on, and maybe just depicting, hey, we don't care that you're watching us or that we have an audience. We're people and we're going to do what we need to do. So, but I think that's going to be it from me for now. Thank you if you watched this. I will probably continue to try to react to this as my migraines will allow me to. On the other channel, I am way, way behind in work. I still need to do my content creator shout out video that I've been meaning to do forever, especially since I've been struggling so much with my migraines. Anyone who did get directed there, I do want to direct you to content creators who will be creating regular content. I likely will not be, and then I will probably, for now, just do that, and then I might do a news roundup for everything going on in Path of Exile, with like what happened with Path of Exile 1, what's currently going on with Path of Exile 1, and the new event that I'm currently playing a little bit in, again, as much as my migraines will let me. So, until then, this has been Divine Erdrick, and I will see you all on Earthsea.